Hi, I'm Kelly Richey. I'm going to talk to you about my acoustic guitar rig today. And just so you know, this rig here, the pedal board and the amp, it's also what I use for a mini guitar rig, for rehearsals, for a stripped down blues show, anything that, if I do a radio show, anything that requires amplification for either my electric guitar or my acoustic, this rig is just a perfect setup. If I'm going to do a little bit higher volume, but yet stripped down show, I'll put an external Mesa Boogie single 12 under this amp with either my electric or acoustic if that's needed. But 9 times out of 10, this works just great. Last night, for example, I opened up I was in a fairly large room. I opened up for Robin Ford. They wanted me to do a solo show about 30 minutes before his performance, and they asked that I do it on acoustic. So I brought in this rig, and I'm going to tell you how I had the setup for a typical show that, I really want to feel comfortable, be as close to feeling like I'm on the electric guitar, because that's, what I do most of the time. So that's how I have this guitar rig set up, is to support my style. And I can't begin to express how critical it is to design a rig tailored to the outcome that is desired. Okay? So, with that said, let's start with the guitar. This is a Taylor. It's a cutaway. Out of the box, it came with a bridge pickup and a preamp. I have hence replaced the preamp with a Fishman preamp that allows me to add a second pickup and blend the two. So this is a Fishman, and the preamp says that it's a prefix premium blend. It has a notch filter where I can dial in which frequency I'd like to cut. If I happen to be on a stage or in a room to where feedback is an issue, I will turn this on and use it. Typically, I just keep this off, okay, because I want as much of the pure sound of the guitar as I can get. As far as blending the two pickups, I have about 80% of my signal coming from this pickup and about 20% blended in. I'm a percussive player. I tend to hit the body of the guitar a lot. And so it just really thumps a lot, and it can be very annoying, and I tend to hesitate to play the way that I do if I've got the majority of my sound coming from my bridge pickup. So this allows me to play with freedom, yet still get a great sound and support the style that I have. Now, here's my EQ. My treble is set right in the middle, so it's flat. Same with my mid-range. It's set in the middle, so it's flat. My bass is set, if 50% is in the middle, it's set at about 65%. What I'll do to set my bass is I tend to push it to where it wants to feed back and then back it down by about 20%. That tends to let the guitar be as warm as the environment and the setup can handle. Okay? So that's how my guitar is set up. I will, if I'm playing a solo show, I'll turn my volume all the way up. If I'm playing with other players, I tend to run this about 3/4 of the way, just in case I need to get a little bit more juice and don't have time to reach back, fiddle with the amp. This is the quickest way to get just a little bit more juice dialed in an emergency. Now, let me skip this for a second and go straight to the amp so we can talk about what I'm sending to the amp. This is a Fender Princeton Reverb amp. It's 1967. It's a great sounding amp. I mean, a great sounding amp. I have the volume set on 3, the treble set on 5, the bass set on 5, and the reverb set not quite to 2.5. The tremolo is turned off. Both of those are turned down all the way. Hear the reverb? I don't like to overpower the sound with too much reverb. I don't like to muddy it up. I like just enough to where it's kind of soft and cushy, but not mushy. All right? The first thing in my chain is a Boss tuner. This is an older tuner, but it works great. It's a Chromatic tuner. As long as it works, it'll be sitting there. So that comes first. The first effect that I have is a Deja vibe by Fulltone. And If I were really needing a boost, a big boost, I'd turn this all the way up. But for just a slight boost that's not shocking and doesn't really alter my tone, I put that at about 3 o'clock, so 3/4 of the way up. I turn the intensity all the way up. And I put the speed there, you know, really at a very slow speed. This is off. And so that's turned up maybe 1/4 of the way to about 10 o'clock. Now, there are 2 switches here. One is vintage or modern. I have it down towards vintage. The other is coarse or vibrato. I have it up towards vibrato. So I'm going to turn this on. Hear how that gave just a slight boost? On, off. Gives it a fuller sound by having that rotating frequency, that modulation. All right. Now, I only turn that on if I need a little bit of boost. As the night goes on and I get playing a little bit heavier, if I need to be able to cut over top of the rhythms that I'm laying down, I know that I've got that as a go-to. Now, I have 2 tube screamers, which for my electric rig, both of these are on. But this is my acoustic rig, so I do not turn this one on at all. And this one, I have the gain set at 9 a.m., so it's only 1/4 of the way up. I have the tone at 10 a.m., and I have the level set to unity, which is at noon. Let me show you how that sounds. It's more of a boost than this, and it's got a little bit of dirt. But unless I play the guitar really hard, are you going to really start to hear a distorted sound? So keep in mind, however much signal goes into an overdrive is how much it's going to cause it to overdrive. So I clean up my sound by playing lighter. Not only does my sound get louder when I play heavier, but when I hit that distortion or that overdrive, it's going to start to break up the harder that I hit it. Okay? So I'll turn that off. Now, my delay. This is a T-Rex. It's a really nice delay unit. I'll tell you how I have it set. The repeat is set to about 10 o'clock. The echo is set to about 11, just a little bit past 11. And that's the delay sound. The direct sound is set at unity, which is straight up at noon. And then the tempo is set to about 10:30. Now, with this being a tap tempo, these two work in tandem. However fast this is set, then when you click this, this responds in increments related to that setting. I do not use the subdivide. I've played around with it. It's just not something that I've really brought into any of my songs. It's a cool button to play with, but I don't want to get into that right now because I'm not going to, it's just not something that I'm using. This is a brown sound. When I push that in, which I keep it pushed in, it just warms up the delay itself. What I play is true, but the repeats after it are warmer. In other delays, they might call that the dampening effect, to where it just takes the sound, instead of bap, 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 it's bap, 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 bap. So it just warms it up a little bit, and it blends in more. It doesn't stand out as much. I really like that. And then this is my Digitech Jam Man. This is a great, great, great looper. You can store what you loop if you want. There's a card that you can put in to store to, a memory card. You can scroll up and down. There's 99 different loops. I really love this. So those are the individual pedals. Now let me show you how I work this. If I'm going to start off just doing, just a blues song, I'll probably have nothing on. I've got rambling on my mind. Okay, so just kind of a, just a straightforward acoustic sound. If I'm not doing just a stripped down, kind of old school blues tune, and I transition into like Mean Old World, it's like I want just a little bit more substance there. I just want a little bit more. Okay, to me, turning on just a little bit of gain, that's really nice. I wouldn't, for something that percussive, use a delay, but I'm going to show you how I bring my loop station in. I'm always looking at the very top of a song to grab one verse while I'm either singing or I, sneak it into the intro of the song where I can grab one verse that I have in the loop, in the Jam Man here, that I can kick on to trigger to play a lead over. Now I'll turn this down for a minute. I have the input set to unity, and I have the output, the loop that's going to play back, set to 11 o'clock, just below unity, because I don't want to compete with what I'm playing. I want to lay down a nice, good, solid rhythm, and then when it plays back, I want it to be slightly lower so it's easy for me to play over. Okay, so I'll kick it back on and play over it. If you get a looper, spend some time with it. Really get to know it. It needs to be in your DNA. It needs to become a part of you because you're playing with it, all right? And it's going to do exactly what you tell it to do. I want to make sure that I'm where I want to be before I kick it on. Hey Joe, wake up with that gun in your hand. Hey Joe, well, that's it, coming out of that verse. Okay, for all along the watchtower, I know I'm going to need a boost. I'll leave my delay on. And the reason I'm going to need a boost is because probably this will be my last song. So I will be, really laying into it the hardest for my leads. I want to make sure that I don't play my rhythm too hard, though. But hard enough that I'll be able to hear it and not be drowning it out. And to allow it to, kind of grow. So I'm going to kick this off pretty hard, but, you know, leave myself a little bit of room to be able to you know, play over top of it without it becoming noise by the end. All right? When I stepped on that, it didn't really jump out. I didn't want it to. What happened was that I didn't have to play any harder. I could stay in that zone of really being able to make music and not have to play so hard that I might hit a wrong note or a note not ring out. You know, I want to be able to make music here, but at the same time really build intensity and let these things work for me. Sometimes you got to walk in and you don't have anything with you but your guitar. And then you really realize the biggest tip that I can give you is that it's all in the hands, because this is where it starts. It's in the instrument and it's in the hands. Everything else from your pickups on, enhance, amplify, and carry that into fruition what it is that your vision is for your sound is that you're creating. Okay? All right. There you go. And thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Visit me at kellyrichey.com, and I'll see you down the highway. Peace.